Hi, everybody. So, in this live stream, I am going to be working on my project Ferrari. It is a 118 scale 488 GTB. It is absolutely beautiful. I'm doing it in a pearl color. I wanted to do it in a pearl because um, I I don't know. I love pearl. I love the color pearl. I love the idea of it. It has to look right. Like it can't be like a yellowish, very, very yellow pearl. This is a little yellow, but when I put the top coat of clear on it, it's going to be like a shiny gloss. It's not going to be a matte gloss. But when I put that on, it's going to look more white. So it's not going to look yellow. However, if I did a matte, it would look definitely exactly like it is, just with a protective coat on it, pretty much. But I'm going to be sanding it down very lightly, just so that it um, it has a smooth texture on it when I go to put a top coat on it. So I'm going to take this off, but I've been doing some other small things on it too, like these brake calipers. Um, I painted them yellow. Um, I kind of like the yellow theme. So this is what it would look like. This is what it looks like right now, actually. But I painted the disc brake black because I spray painted the wheels black, and on the back wheels the disc wouldn't come off. So um, basically I ended up kind of having to do this. It's not that big a deal, even though I would have rather have let them be the same color as they were originally because they were nice beforehand, but there's really not much I can do about it now, right? But I did go back to Sam's Club, and I had actually did a video specifically for Imperial Diecast. Definitely be on the lookout for that. That should be, I'm gonna say, maybe by Wednesday or so, this coming Wednesday. Definitely expect it by then or before then, but um, I did record it for you. I hope you guys like it. It's not something I normally do on my channel, but I do like to take your guys' requests and apply them on my channel. So, but I also spray painted the rear view mirrors as well, the side view mirrors, the pearl, of course. Whoops. But I also did the front spoiler as well. Definitely it's going to need some sanding. The bottom, it's going to be what it's going to be. I personally, it's my first time renovating a car, so I'm not really going to worry about it too much. But let me tell you, this car has a lot of paint on it right now, and so it's very thick. It has a lot of paint on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my sandpaper. If you guys have any questions for me during this process and everything, like what I did, what paint I used, let me know. I'm gonna go grab my sandpaper and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm going to be using a level 400 sandpaper. Gotta wet it first. It's best to use it with warm water, but honestly, it's not that big of a deal if you use cold water, but it is preferred if you use warm water or hot water. I'm just going to lightly sand it. I have to use a higher grade paper because the higher the grade, the softer the adhesive is going to be, and it's going to result in a less harsher application. So I just lightly sand it, making sure that there's no bumps on it. You have to be very careful when going over the sides, any corners or tough edges, because these can definitely, they even with the 400, they tend to take off a lot of paint very quickly. So definitely you want to be careful. You can see I already see a mistake in my sanding. I'm sanded down too hard at a corner, so I have to very lightly sand. The reason why I have to sand is because when you apply a top coat, it doesn't fill in the gaps. So it's going to come out bumpy when you put it on if you don't sand it down. But how is your guys' Saturdays going? Is it going good? I hope it is. But I honestly, I really love this paint. Even though I despise using it, I love how it looks. It's a very hard paint to work with. It's the Michaels brand, not the Michaels brand, but it's you get it at Michaels. It's a Martha Stewart brand paint, and her paint was the only type of paint that matched what I was looking for. Um, it was she really only carried the she she was the only one that carried the pearl that I was looking for. So because of that, I ended up choosing her for this project. Even though I found that working with this pearl, oh, it's been very hard. It's been very hard, but um, it is what it is. I mean, I've learned a lot with this project. I'm still learning a lot, if I'm being honest with you. But um, but yeah, it's quite a learning curve, that's for sure. There's some parts on here where I don't think I'm gonna have to um, sand down just because it feels smooth enough. So I'll go ahead and just leave those be. But there are some areas where I don't think they're good yet. See, like right here, this is perfect. Like right here, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of sanding, just a little bit. Very light, very light. Let's see. This is good. This is good. Like right here, just a little bit. Needs a little sanding. Now, when you want to take the paint off of a car, you're going to use most certainly a higher grade of sandpaper. you'll probably use a 280A or just 280 sandpaper, but um, definitely when you just want to make a smooth surface smooth or make a rough surface smooth, you want to use the 400 sandpaper. And honestly, the best thing to do is to let the paper soak, let the sandpaper soak for a little bit. Um, but looking really good. It's looking really shiny. Thank you. Yeah, I like the pearl, and I I think that that I think it's a good decision to use the pearl for this model. It shows the curves very well and everything. But most certainly I will not buy the paint by Martha Stewart Pearl ever again. Will not. I'm using I have something to have the water wet, to have the sandpaper wet, I mean, but some like it's drying out very quickly, pretty much. So the reason why I wouldn't recommend the Martha Stewart Pearl is because even after shaking it for a while, I noticed that a lot of a lot of the sparkles came out, and it's like, why use that even after like shaking for like 7 minutes or so? It's like it's just when you have nothing but sparkles coming out, it's like the paint, the texture is going to be rough, and you're going to have to sand it down, and so it wasn't fun in that sense working on this project, but um, I do really like the pearl on this model for sure. The best thing to do with these also is to let them dry for a long time, because I've learned the hard way that um, if you don't let it dry long enough, that it will make finger imprints onto the model, and when that happens, you're gonna have to sand, and trust me, that's not fun. That's what I'm doing right now because I'm noticing that there is a fingerprint or something on the side here, maybe even orange peel, but certainly it's not fun by any means. Gosh, I hate saying this, but I may have to go over this with paint again, even though I don't want to, because I'm noticing that I'm sanding too much on certain areas. I'm trying to sand right here, but there's like a mark, like a print or something like that. So I may have to do that, unfortunately. And if I do, I'm probably going to have to spray paint. That probably will be covered by the spray paint, the weird texture that I see. It feels fine, but you can see the texture, which is not good. So maybe if I did go over it with spray paint, that maybe would fix it, but I don't know. But I'll go ahead and sand down the doors because the doors need some sanding for sure. They're very rough. And again, I'm just doing it lightly so that it just feels smooth. I wonder what my dog is barking at. I honestly don't know. Sometimes he barks at the wind. Yep, that's the mail. That's the mail. The Jeep that the mailman drives around in is very loud. Very loud. Okay, so that is good. And now I just have to do the driver door. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. I'm probably going to end the stream in like maybe 2 minutes or so if I don't see anyone new show up. Maybe even when it hits 25 minutes, just so that I can do other things. There is a part on here where I put on too much and it kind of dripped a little bit, so I'm sanding that down to get smooth texture, but I may end up having to go over this door again because I put on too much paint at one application, so yeah, unfortunately I'm gonna have to do this door again. Fun, but it is what it is. My next project, when I'm done with this one, I want to try to upload it to YouTube. I don't know what car I want to do, but I certainly want to definitely do a project on YouTube. But I want to apologize to you guys for not going live on the times that I said I would on my channel, which is Tuesdays at 2 and on Saturdays at 2. But speaking of that, I am actually not going to be going live on Tuesdays anymore. Reason being, I end up being very busy on Tuesdays. I'm usually out of the house in the afternoon doing grocery shopping or running errands for my mom and dad. So I honestly don't think that that is a good time to do live streaming. That's just for me personally. So I'm not going to be going live on Tuesdays anymore, but I'm still going to be going live on Saturdays at 2 o'clock. But let me tell you, I am going to be very excited when this project is done because I have been working on this car for, this project started back at least a month ago. At least a month ago. It's still taking a long time because of the paint. I keep messing up on the paint. The paint has been the hardest part of this whole thing. Taking apart wasn't that bad, but painting, primering, I learned the hard way that this paint that I used, it's supposedly a primer and paint, but they're lying. So since I started the project with this, I want to finish it with this paint, and I had to buy white primer, and did a lot of sanding, painting, sanding, painting, sanding, sanding, painting. So, yeah, if I'm being honest with you, I haven't learned my lesson. I have to be very careful when painting, so. But to those who are in here, I'm going to give a spoiler onto what's coming onto my channel next. I don't know exactly which review will be up first, but I have a new model I actually have a couple new models to review. I'm going to unbox them, and I'm going to be doing videos on them. It's going to be with maybe one of them will be up in the next week. I'll give you a hint. One of them is going to be of a Pontiac, so it's going to be pretty interesting because this is the first Pontiac that I've owned ever in my whole collection, so that's going to be very cool to unbox and review. So definitely it'll be either. Well, I'll just go ahead and tell you the brands. It's so silly. So one of them is going to be a Ferrari as well, and one of them is going to be another Lamborghini. So I will be unboxing those within the next maybe 2 weeks or so. So definitely expect them. I'm not going to be talking in them because I honestly, my mic is not that good. The camera that I use is the Logitech webcam, and the microphone on it sucks, so I don't like really using it for those type of videos. Live streaming is fine, but just on regular videos, no way. So I'd rather just throw in some music and do some footage than do a talk about it, you know what I mean? But to those who are in here, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys have a good rest of your day and a good rest of your weekend. So I will be talking to you guys soon, and be on the lookout for my new latest videos.